At the end of Teen Wolf Season 1, Scott McCall and his allies had a tough time dealing with Peter Hale, the Alpha Werewolf. After his defeat due to a combined effort from multiple parties, Peter was vulnerable, and a moral dilemma amongst the group occurred about who should get to kill him. Derek told Scott that a potential cure could come from killing the werewolf that bit you, but it was most likely a lie, and Derek had already made up his mind, driven by the need for more power, and he killed Peter by slashing open his throat. Following that action, Derek Hale gave one of the most chilling and badass lines in all of Teen Wolf. The seasons that followed allowed Derek to give us some of the craziest and most bonkers feats for any werewolf we've seen outside of either the Alpha Pack or the Beast of Gévaudan. Some feats I would say even outclassed Scott, at least from some feats, or at least some of the feats we've seen Scott perform. About 3 months ago, we covered Evolve Derek Hale, and now I will provide you the sequel to that video, covering Derek's time as an Alpha from Season 2 to Season 3A. Without further ado, let's begin. First, we're going to begin with covering Derek's feats and run as an Alpha during the events of Teen Wolf Season 2. It's important to mention that in terms of having a balanced and near-perfect power scale, Season 1 and 2 were the best in terms of figuring out who was the strongest character and who wasn't. Derek was by far the second most powerful character in the show, at least in that season. I would say you could argue that Alpha Peter was stronger than Derek at this point in time, even though Derek was an Alpha right up to that point behind the Kanima, with him dominating Scott McCall in their scuffle in the episode Ice Pick and putting up a good fight against arguably one of the strongest creatures in the entire series in the Beta Kanima. Derek is also more impressive given the fact that he's a born werewolf, allowing him to control his powers and hone them easier than a bitten werewolf could. During his fight with the Kanima and Frenemy, Derek was able to punch and break a good little chunk off a concrete pillar. This is very impressive, specifically for a werewolf in a universe where most of the creatures are relatively weak. But unfortunately, after that showing of power and skill against the Kanima, in his first actual fight, Derek just gets, well, I'll showcase the clips here. Moving on to Season 3A, most of Derek's feats and abilities come from his fight with the members of the Alpha Pack, specifically with Ennis and Kali. We're not going to mention the twins merged or Deucalion because he either didn't fight them or got absolutely destroyed in the case of the twins. Derek for most of the season was even with Ennis, with his first scuffle with him being an absolute one-sided domination. Though to be fair, Derek did catch Ennis off guard due to him fighting Scott, so do we really want to count that? I'll leave it up to you guys. But yeah, their best display of who was really the superior werewolf was during the flashback scene in the episode Frayed. Derek and Ennis traded blows and looked very evenly matched, though with the proper power scaling and considering the lore established in the series and even this season, Ennis should be by default stronger than Derek due to him being an augmented alpha. But it's like after Season 2, Jeff Davis and whatever writing staff he had helping him just didn't fully understand the concept of power scaling and how it really works. Regardless of the inconsistency and non-application of the show's own lore and rules, Derek and Ennis, as seen on screen, were evenly matched, even if we all know it's bullshit. Moving on to Kali, now this was a nightmare matchup for Derek. Not only was she scaled higher than Derek clearly and rightfully so, she was overall more agile, skilled, and an overall better werewolf than he was, on top of the fact that she was unique, having claws on her feet. Derek lost every single encounter with Kali, even getting a pole struck through his chest. Ouch. This plays in Derek's durability as he's one of the most durable characters in the entire series. I mean, dude literally had his abandonment clawed out on a full moon by a crazed Boyd and Korra, and he still survived. Yes, his abandonment was clawed out, as well as falling a few stories down onto an escalator and having enough strength to get up and walk out and go find Jennifer Blake. Yeah, the dude is ridiculous in terms of durability, but overall, Derek was severely underrated as an alpha in my eyes, and he's definitely one of the stronger ones showcased throughout the series. But is he stronger than Peter as an alpha? Like I mentioned at the start of the video, that's debatable. But Derek as an alpha gave us so many great moments in the earlier seasons of Teen Wolf, back when the series was in its prime in the early 2010s. But he also had it rough, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves. Derek had to face opponents that were stronger than himself. Jackson when he was the Kanima, the Alpha Pack, and the Duroc. What was he going to do to cement himself as being dominant? He literally couldn't. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Derek Hale as an alpha is still one of the stronger alphas in the series. And this video is all about giving Derek his flowers because his run as an alpha is not talked about nearly enough. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys leave a like. Make sure you guys comment down below your thoughts and opinions on this video. I would greatly like to hear all feedback. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and when you do, click that bell icon next to the subscribe button to turn your notifications on and set them to all so that you never miss a future upload on this channel. Help us get to 7,000 subscribers by the end of June. That'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, I'm Jade's Corner. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll catch you guys in the next Teen Wolf related video. Deuces.